Glaucoma Australia is thrilled to announce the recipient of the 2024 Glaucoma Australia Quinlivan Research Grant. The grant is awarded every year on World Sight Day to an outstanding glaucoma researcher. It's my great pleasure to present this year's research grant to Associate Professor Andrew White from the Centre for Vision Research at the Westmead Institute for Medical Research. Congratulations, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Maree. It's a great privilege to receive this award from Glaucoma Australia, and it's going to help a large number of patients that at the moment I don't think we're able to help that much. As you know, about 80% of patients with glaucoma are quite well treated and stand a very good chance of maintaining the vision as long as they live. Now, most of the treatments that we have revolve around reducing pressure in the eye, but for about 20% of people that's not enough. This is a combination of work that started around about 2015 in the laboratory. We were looking at other medications that might be able to slow the rate of glaucoma without necessarily being so reliant on pressure control. We think we have enough preliminary data now to move towards the next step, to take it from inside the lab to apply it to people and understand the mechanisms at the same time. And so the award from Glaucoma Australia will go a long way to be able to facilitate that.
Very pleased to hear. So, Andrew, would you be able to just fill us in a little bit more for the next 2 years, what your research is going to focus on, and perhaps if you have some ideas about after the 2 years, maybe up to 5 years, and who are the patients who are going to benefit the most?
Brilliant question. First of all, I just want to reiterate that we can't do the next 2 years without the support we're getting from Glaucoma Australia. It's just not possible. But I'll just backtrack maybe a few years prior to where we are. There's a bit of a paradigm shift in glaucoma treatment at the moment, that whilst pressure control is very, very important and we shouldn't change that, we shouldn't move away from that, there appears to be some issues with metabolism in the eye and blood supply in the eye and how blood works around the eye, and that plays an important role in glaucoma. So a lot of the research we've been doing thus far is looking at those metabolic changes and looking at something called free radicals. Now, the work that we're doing at the moment is using medications to try and reduce those free radicals, which are very poisonous to the eye and play a role in glaucoma. So we're really opening up this field about retinal metabolism, superoxide formation, how we shut it down. Whether it's me or whether it's other people who are working in parallel, this is where we're going in the next 5 to 10 years probably. We've got to start with a 2-year proof of concept, which is really what we're looking at. And assuming that works well, and it certainly does so far in the work that we've done, this is a whole new way of looking at glaucoma and treating it.
Well, that sounds very promising, especially for that component of glaucoma patients that you're focusing on.
It's very exciting times.
Very exciting, yes.
One of the things is that all of these grants, they're part of a bigger puzzle, right? It's not one thing that's going to solve everything. So what we have with this is we have some parallel work that a lot of the people who do lose vision from glaucoma, some of it is just dumb luck, unfortunately. But there's another group of people that either present late or we didn't intervene early enough. And so there's a lot of work moving around how we pick the people we need to intervene early. There are many different approaches to that. Some people look at genetic risk profiling, which I know that you've been involved with before. There is things with artificial intelligence and looking at, for example, patterns of visual field loss or other medical conditions that may be contributing to glaucoma. But getting back to what we were talking about with metabolism of the retina, we're also imaging the retina now. We have the capability to look at eyes that metabolize things a little bit differently. So all of these things put together, we might be able to pick the people to intervene with all these protective trials before they get the vision loss, because the people who lose the vision, frequently we've got too late. And so there's a lot of work in that field. And the work that we're doing as part of the Quinlivan Award that we've just received, that's part of looking at these mechanisms as well. So that, you know, in 10 years' time, we're not talking about 20 20% of people moving towards vision loss. Maybe we're talking about 10. That would be a goal.
And so, Andrew, with that, is there, are you looking at a different age group to what you normally do, or do you look at a wider range?
Well, look, I think there's a spectrum. I mean, we know that glaucoma is typically a disease of older people, but not always. There's a small group of people quite young. But what we really want to get to is the people who we don't even know they have glaucoma yet. We know that they might have some risk factors, but we don't know. And so they're on a treatment, so it's just never a problem in their lives.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it would be.
So, Andrew, what was it that made you want to specialise in glaucoma?
I think one of the things about glaucoma, I trained as a basic research scientist before I got into clinical medicine and ophthalmology. And I always wanted to sort of understand how things work. And then once I had some idea of how the eye worked, I wanted to see how to fix it when it was broken, very much sort of the engineering kind of brain. And one of the things that seems the most broken in ophthalmology, with the greatest scope to fix it, is glaucoma. Now, I got into glaucoma, and then a lot of other funny sort of things happened. That one of my main research colleagues, Sushi Padamana, who's also involved in this award, her father, she came to me because her father went blind from glaucoma in India. And just weirdly, coincidentally, well after I started this research, my father was diagnosed with a mild glaucoma in his 80s. Fortunately, it's a pretty mild one. And my sister, who's not that different in age from me, has ocular hypertension.
Wow, yes.
So I get my eye checks every year.
Yes. Well, we're very pleased to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andrew. That was extremely interesting, and we're all very excited to see the outcome of this research. And we wish you and your team every success.
Thank you very much. Again, I very much appreciate the support from Glaucoma Australia.